Hey, I'm Mike Dixon again here for Excel Bootcamp video number 2. Alright, so back at the data, we are going to learn a little bit about how to navigate within these rows and columns a little bit more. Specifically, I want to show you, first off, how to add and delete columns and rows. So the easiest way to do this, just like we showed in the last video, is you can click on the letters up above, A, B, C, D, to get the columns, and if you click on it, get it highlighted, and then right click, you can just say insert. We'll insert a column, right? It'll insert a column to the left of that. So if you want to delete a column, do the same thing. Click on a column, right click, say delete, delete it. So now if I want to do the same thing with rows, so this time click on one of the numbers to the left here, right click, say insert. We'll insert it above the one that you select. So again, I can highlight it again and click on delete. So now if I want to insert more than one at a time, all I have to do is highlight several rows or several columns. So in this case, if I want to insert 3 columns, I just select 3 columns. So I have B, C, and D selected. Right click and say insert. This will insert 3 columns to the left of B. There we go already. Alright, so now B, C, and D are now just blank. I moved E and F over. Alright, so just what we wanted. Same way I can delete 3 at a time, just like that. So again, same going with the row. So here I selected 5. I say right click and say insert. We'll insert 5. Then I can delete those as well. So instead of deleting delete, let's do this a couple times. One more time. Insert. If I decide, whoops, I don't want that, I can just say Control Z is undo. Control Z. So I don't know how I remember this, but Z is sort of the end of the alphabet, so like you get to the end and you're like, man, I want to start over because it's such an amazingly fun song to sing. So you want to undo, start over again, Z, or you can use the little button up here. See this little undo, Control Z, oh, and then this is redo, which is Control Y, right? I don't use that a whole lot, but that's okay. Control Y is redo. Just redoes the last thing. So the cool thing about this little box over here, too, up on the top, is it will remember a whole bunch of the last things you did, right? So if you are kind of going crazy and you realize that, like 3 minutes ago, everything you've done up until then has been wrong, and I need to undo everything all the way back until then, you can actually go for quite a ways here. So this is actually to the beginning of when I opened this. I zoomed and stuff so that we could see it. So like if I clicked on that, ooh, so you like undid all of that stuff. So now I have to redo it all. Oh, there we go, at least to there. So that's kind of cool to learn, so don't have that stuff. Okay, what else? So here's another one. We're going to learn how to merge cells. So here we have first name and last name. So let's just call that name. And what I really want is this cell right here, which is B1, right? This cell to actually kind of go merge into both of these. That is so that it can be in both of them. So the easiest way to do this is just type something in some leftmost cell, highlight where you want it to be, and then click on this little merge and center button. And that, there we go. So now that what has done is made those 2 cells that were once separated and made them into one. So this only works. I'm going to Control Z undo. You can't do it the other way. Like if I put name here and then said merge, I don't think this will work. Oh, it actually does work. Oh, never mind. What do I know? So anyway, that comes in handy sometimes to do some merging. If you try to merge 2 things that have something in it, though, let's try that. So we're going to merge this last name and Stewart together. So it gives you this little error, and it says this contains multiple data values, which means there's stuff in both of those cells, dummy. You sure you want to do this? So if you're going to do this, it's only going to keep the upper leftmost data. So if I say OK, then that the guy's whoever's last name Stewart is gone. So I can Control Z and undo that. Alright, so the other thing, wrapping text. So let's just sort of make a note. Favorite M&M color. Right, so this is really kind of long. It kind of goes past there. Like, so here's the end of our cell. It kind of flows into the next column. So there's a couple things we can do here. In fact, you can see here this last name, we can't read it anymore. It says last name. So a couple of things we can do. First of all, we can make the entire column bigger. How do we do that? Well, we go in between these 2 columns, here C and D, click and drag, and then let go. All right, so now we can make that any size we want, right? I want it really big, or if I want it really small. Really small is probably not such a great idea. The shortcut here, though, if I double-click, right, then it will actually snap to as big as it needs to be for any cells in that entire column. So, for example, if I were to just sort of kind of keep typing here, like this is some kind of word, really big long word, then double-click up here. So I go in between C and D and then double-click. Now it makes that column as big, as big as it needs to be in order so that you can read that. Right? So I'm gonna undo a couple things. So I Control Z twice. So the other thing I want to show you though is this idea of wrapping text. So what is wrapping text? So wrapping text means we'll actually put, it'll keep the column the same width, but then it will move stuff down to sort of the next, not the next row, but it will make the rows wider, right? So you could do that physically. Well, see, this won't quite work, but I could make the row bigger, just like I did with the column. Double click, we'll snap it to the right size. Oh yeah, this is the other thing I wanted to show you. Well, yeah, let's do this first. So if I have a whole bunch of things, whole bunch of data, I can do the double click trick all at once, right? So if I highlight all of these and then go to the rightmost until I get this little sort of a plus sign thing and then double click, it will do it for all of them, right? So not just one at a time. So in fact, if I highlight all these rows, I can actually adjust the width of all these rows all at once. So no, they're like practically mini, you can't see them anymore. They're really little. And then also double click will also work. Okay, so now back to wrapping text. Sorry, we never got to figure out what wrapping text means. So let's just do it, then we can figure it out. So first of all, let's make this a little smaller. Click on this little guy that says wrap text. Ah, there we go. So that's what it does. So it kind of it makes it so that you can see the entire cell, but it doesn't make the column any bigger. It sort of makes it wider and then makes things go underneath it. Right? So wrapping text kind of comes in handy sometimes. Cool. So okay, yeah, so here's another trick that I use quite a lot. So favorite color, let's say green, blue. Okay, so here's a trick. So I typed blue W, which I misspelled that. If I want to go back into this cell and fix that, how do I do that, right? So I can double click, right, and then it brings the cursor back in there and I can just delete, right? Or I can hit the F2 button. F2 button does the exact same thing, just brings the cursor back into there. So if you're like me and you're just tired of using the mouse whenever you screw up, because you screw up a lot, then F2, like that. So another trick is, if I type in blue here, then I'm like, oh, actually it's red, but then before I hit enter, I'm like, oh, wait, no, it actually is blue. I can hit the escape button, and it will remember what was in there right before. So it's sort of like undoing, but you can only use the escape button, before you hit enter. So here's blue. I can just type anything in here. As long as I don't hit enter, I can hit the escape button, and it will go back to whatever was there before. So this might come in handy when you're working in a team, and there's like a whole bunch of numbers, and somebody's like, oh, that number's not right. So you change it, and they're like, actually, it was right, or you can't remember what was in there before. Hit escape, right? And that's sort of the same as undoing, only it only works if you haven't hit enter. Okay, quickly, sorting. So let's talk about sorting data. So sorting data can come in handy, like if I wanted to sort these last names so that I saw them alphabetically. How would I do that? Oh, this is pretty easy. So over here in this sort and filter section, I click on that. I have some couple options. I can do sort A to Z, sort Z to A, so pretty intuitive what that means. These work for numbers as well. So A to Z means smallest to biggest, Z to A means biggest to smallest. Custom sort, we're not going to do that today, maybe we'll do that another day, but you can poke around in there and figure out what that does. So let's do sort A to Z on last name. Alright, so there we go. Sorted, we got the Stewart down here at the bottom there, the closest to the end of the alphabet, and Johnson is close to the earliest of the alphabet. Everything else got sorted. As you can see, like the numbers got sorted. Favorite M&M got sorted, so I only had 3 of them in there, right? But that's okay, it still got sorted. So when I sort on one column, let me show you what I did. I'm going to undo that. If I click on the column that I want sorted, right, the column header, like whatever's on the very top of the column, and then say sort A to Z, then everything else gets sorted. Right? So I can sort again, right? So if I want to sort by first name, I can do that again. Resource. If I want to sort, but back to the original, I'd have to sort by number. There we go. So this was how it was originally, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right. So this works that everything can be stayed together as long as there is no space in between. There's no empty column in between, right? So if I were to insert a column right here, right? So now I have a column in between these two. Now let's try it. So let's, here, remember this is 1 through 8. Now I'm going to sort this from A to Z. So it doesn't like this. So the reason, let's unmerge this first, that'll work. So click on this merge and center, and then we'll unmerge it. So now it's just over there by itself. That's why I didn't like it. So let's try it one more time. All right, so what happened? Well, what happened was that these two guys got sorted, but these did not, right? So now no longer does this data match, right? No longer, because there was never a Mike Johnson. There was only like a Mike Stewart or something like that. Undo, yeah, Mike Stewart, who liked green. So because there's an empty column in here, your sorting's not going to work anymore. So sorting's great. Be careful. There's no empty columns in between. All right, so let's delete this column. 2 more things, and then we'll be done with this video. We want to figure out how to filter things, so that's just right here in sort 2. Let's do by first name. Filter. So what does filter mean? So let's just click on filter. Excel figures out that these are our column headers, and I can filter by specific things. So first name, I actually have a couple mics in here. So let's unselect. If I say select all, then they're all there. If I unselect that, then I can go through and just select one. So I say I only want to look at the mics. Click on OK. Here we go. I got 2 mics. Right, Mike Stewart, Mike Richards. Okay, cool. So then if I want to see all of them, they're all still there. They're just like hiding. In fact, you can tell. Let's see, our row numbers go from 2 to 3 to 8, right? And they're a different color. That means there's sort of stuff hidden in there. I wonder if this works. No, it doesn't work. The way to get it back is to go over here and say select all, and then they all come back. Yep. Great. So that works on any of these. Okay, so the final thing I want to do is talk about using find and replace options. So sometimes this might come in handy where in your data you have a whole bunch of the same mistake and you want to change them all at once. So in case, so here we got a couple mics. Maybe we want to change those mics to the more formal name of Michael. So how do we do that? Well, Control F is find. So then I can just say find mic, and it will just find those 2 mics. Every time I hit enter, it will go to the next one, right? So it's just doing this find next, find all. So then it will actually give us sort of the more detailed value of where things are going. All right, so there's some options in there. Control F is find, right? So I can also do Control H. Control H is replace, right? So I don't know why it's H. Replace, maybe like replace. I don't know. I didn't write the code. Anyway, Control F will also get you there. There's just a tab right here called replace. So if you can't remember Control H, Control F is easier to remember. And say here we go, find Mike, and then replace it with what? We'll replace it with Michael. All right, so then it'll let you do it one at a time. So say find next, and then you can say replace, and then replace. Okay, so, or let's undo that. Control H, Mike, Michael. I can say replace all, and it says, oh, I did it, and I replaced 2 things. Okay. So this might come in handy sometimes. This replace all. So that's all for today's video. Have fun.